5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ami Meoded from Little One Care. Nice to meet you. Together with me, we have Lola. Lola, she will present herself in a couple of seconds. Before Lola will join us, I would like to share with you that we are right now starting the pre-order for the Little One Care smartwatch. You can learn about that in Little One Care websites. Lola, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Ami? It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Can you tell us what is your occupation? What are you doing for living? Where are you from?
Yeah. So I do many things, but I I am from Argentina. I live in New York. I have been living in New York for the last 12 years. I am a mother of two, and since my first daughter was born, I became a pediatric sleep consultant, and I help families establish healthy sleep habits at home.
I see. Well, when I met you at the first time, you told me I found you actually as a sleep consultant, and you we talked a lot about this subject about sleep consulting. So let's start from the beginning. What is sleep consulting, and what is the role of sleep consultant, especially when we talk about families with infants and babies?
Yeah, and that's a great question because I think many people either don't know that this activity exists, or even when they hear about it, they don't know what it is. And basically, a sleep consultant, a sleep coach, um, is a person who has been studied the development of sleep during the first years of life. A sleep consultant will help a family understand that sleep development, the child's sleep needs at different ages, and how to establish healthy sleep habits at home, especially when families are struggling, understanding or creating a healthy routine that will allow the child to relax and fall asleep well. A sleep consultant would guide that family with a personalized sleep plan, understanding what is necessary to be changed to start sleeping well, how to create those sleep habits, and how to stay consistent, so all the family can actually get good sleep at night.
Uh, can you share with me situation where you met a first time you met parents when they contact you, and what was the situation, or why they found themselves needing you, or what happens before and the moment they decide they need you and then they give you a call? Can you describe a situation and things that had happened as a case studies in this area?
Yes, of course. So when families reach out to me, it's usually because they're not sleeping well, and they're not sleeping well because the child is not sleeping well. And this can happen at different ages. It could be a young baby, let's say a 6 months old, that is waking up 10 times a night, or even a toddler, a 3-year-old, or even a 4-year-old who's struggling falling asleep and staying asleep during the night. And this causes, of course, fragmented sleep, and everybody's tired. The parents are tired, the baby is tired, there's a lot of stress in the family because everyone is tired, and nobody is enjoying putting the child to sleep. So, again, families usually reach out to me when they are in a difficult situation. These are one type of families. We can discuss other healthy moments when they also reach out. Um, but in order to help that family, I need to understand exactly what is going on. And we go through all the aspects of the sleep, the current sleep routine in the family. At what time is the child going to sleep? Is the child napping or is the child not napping? At what time is the last nap of the day ending? For how long the child is napping? How many times a night is the child waking up? And if when they wake up in the middle of the night, are they struggling going back to sleep? So I need to understand where the challenges are. Once I understand what is the current schedule and when is the child sleeping or struggling sleeping. Then I also ask about the social aspects of the sleep routine. How is the child going to sleep? Who's putting the child to sleep every night or for every nap? Is always the same person? Are different persons involved? Is the child always falling asleep in the same way? Is the child falling asleep in the space where the parents are expecting for the child to stay asleep the rest of the night? Or is the child, falling asleep on the couch and then transferred to a crib or to a bed, for example? Is the child falling asleep eating, breastfeeding or bottle feeding? Is the child falling asleep, with someone next to that person? And what are the habits and the associations that are present during the moment when the child goes to sleep and falls asleep? And in the same way, I ask how the child returns to sleep every time the child wakes up during the night. So I need to understand exactly what is the family doing, and I need to understand at what time the child is going to sleep. And with all that information, in understanding what are the parents' expectation, if we are talking about a healthy child, of course, with no other health issues that may be affecting sleep, then from there, I educate the families on what can they expect in terms of sleep. What are the sleep needs that are very important to stay healthy at every age? And how can we change those aspects of the routine that are not working well? So, to give you a more specific answer, let's say that we are talking about a 10-month-old baby who, since birth, the only way this baby knows how to fall asleep is in the stroller. So if the baby is not in the stroller, the baby cannot fall asleep. So once the baby falls asleep in the stroller, he or she is transferred to a crib, for example. So when the baby wakes up in the middle of the night or in the middle of the night, he finds himself in a place where he does not recognize, and especially he does not recognize as the place he was falling asleep at the beginning. And this might not be a problem for many babies, and they will still, they will be transferred to a crib and they will still sleep. But for most of them, it is because every human being has an environment that tells the brain that it's time to relax and fall asleep. So we are all dependent on certain situations and environments that will allow us to relax and fall asleep. If that environment changes in the middle of the night, it's a problem because every time we are connecting sleep cycles and we check on our environment and have these micro wakings where we are connecting sleep cycles, we wake up, we do not recognize the situation, and then instead of staying asleep, we get into an alert mode. And also, in order to go from awake to asleep again, we will look for that thing that helps us relax and fall asleep at the beginning of the night. And in this example I gave you, it might be a stroller. So the parents find themselves waking up, taking the child out of the crib, having the unrealistic expectation that the baby will fall asleep magically at 3 a.m. in the crib again, but the baby does not know how to do that. So they had to put the baby at 3 a.m. in the stroller, rock the baby again, and transfer again. So they're in this vicious cycle that makes it very difficult to create a health routine. If on top of these, the baby is going to sleep super late or at a time that is not in sync with the natural need for sleep, this puts an additional struggle on the baby's ability to fall asleep and stay asleep at night because that baby is going to sleep overtired. He's already in this stress mode that makes him being restless during the night, and um, the quality of sleep will suffer if the time for sleep is not correct.
I see. Lola, um, actually, you talk about behavior of the parents and the baby and habits that you would love to make sure both the parents and the baby will adopt. Before we continue, I would like to remind you that October is the month for seeds awareness. And the very first question that jumped to my mind, if we talk in terms of habits, and behavior. And since we know that SIDS, um, it's not a medical investigated well event where you can say exactly what is that. But on the other hand, there are a lot of statistics and a lot of knowledge in the area that says what you should and what you shouldn't do in order to reduce, because avoiding it, nobody really know how to reduce the chance for SIDS. Can you summarize to parents what should be done in order to make sure, or to make the best for safe sleep for babies?
Yes, of course. Um, yeah, and I think you brought up a very important aspect of SIDS. So SIDS in English, it's sudden infant death syndrome. Is one of the most important causes of death within the first year of child's life. So we're talking about children that are younger than 12 months old. Most cases happened when children are between 2 to 4 months old. And this is not something to traumatize parents or make them paranoid at all. As you said, it cannot be prevented. That would be the correct word. But we can definitely reduce the risk. So there are some basic, very easy, safe sleep recommendations to keep our babies safe during the night, because SIDS episodes mostly happen when babies are sleeping at night. So the most important one, and this is a worldwide, very well researched information all over the world, we know that children should be placed to sleep. Those children that are younger than 12 months old should be placed to sleep on their backs. When I was a baby, the recommendation from pediatricians was different. The recommendation to parents was that we should be placing the infants on their bellies, because there was this idea that a child, if they would vomit, they would choke on their own vomit. We know that babies now have resources to avoid that happening. They turn their heads. There's very little chance that that would happen at night, especially on a healthy child. So that should not, because many times, parents will fight this idea of putting their babies on their back, thinking that that could be a risk. It's not. It's definitely not a higher risk that SIDS. So it's very important that we put our babies on their bellies. These strategy only have shown that all over the world, SIDS episodes or situations have been reduced in more than 50% just by placing their children or the babies on their backs to sleep. So that's the most important one. Second, the surface where the child needs to sleep is a flat, firm surface. Adult mattress, as we know them these days, are not meant for a baby to sleep. Soft pillows, big blankets, soft mattresses where the baby can either get stuck. If the baby rolls, their airways can be blocked and they will not be able to breathe. So we know that we want flat, firm surface. Standard crib mattresses or bassinet mattresses are all done very hard, so hard that an adult might think, how can my baby actually be comfortable there? They're perfectly comfortable. That's the type of surface that they need. And we want the baby sleeping in that type of surface. And then we want an empty space, empty crib, no pillows, no cuddly toys, no mobiles hanging from the crib, no bumpers in the crib. So we really want the baby alone in the sleep space, because if not, a young baby can get stuck. These are elements that they are still not strong enough to dominate, so it can be very dangerous for a baby to sleep with things around that they cannot put away from their airways, for example. So baby sleeping on their back, baby sleeping on a flat, firm surface, and baby sleeping alone in a crib. Alone, it doesn't mean that it has to be in another room, not at all. It could be next to parents' bed, of course, but in a different sleep space, separated from an adult's bed, and definitely not with other siblings. This makes it Yeah, even more risky, not with dogs on the bed, all those things that when we are very tired or when we are not aware of it, we don't pay attention to. But, just by following safe sleep recommendations, we are making sure that the risk of a six episodes is very, very little. Right now, the most accepted theory around SIDS is the three risk factor. So, where it says that a combination of things need to happen in order for a SIDS episode to develop. So, we need, an external factor that is causing, some stress on the child. It could be, for example, smoke in the air, or the child being on in a crib, with elements where he cannot dominate and be in control of, like a pillow or a cuddle toy that would be over the child. We also know that there are internal factors. So it might be also a child that has a predisposition to that. And we know that there is a specific developmental period when this may happen. And most cases develop between 2 and 4 months of age. And after 6 months, it decreases a lot the chances of SIDS, but the risk stays up until the child is 1 year old, and after that, it shouldn't be. Something the parents should worry about. However, we always need, even when the child is older, to keep paying attention to the safe sleep area.
Good, thank you. I would like to end this conversation in a positive question. Well, can you describe how many hours parents should expect the baby to sleep in the first few months in life? And what is the value of quality sleep? What is the impact of a good quality sleep, especially in these crucial ages in the first 1 or 2 years in life?
Yeah. Well, actually, in the first few months of the baby's age, sleep is very delicate because the baby will sleep a lot, between 16 and 18 hours, let's say, during the first 2 months. But that sleep will be very, very fragmented because the circadian rhythm is not developed yet. So parents will be super tired. So quality of sleep probably will be very bad for parents at that moment of life. And it is normal that, so the baby will sleep a lot, but very fragmented. After 2 months of age, we can still expect the baby to need between 14 and 16 hours of sleep a day, and we can sleep more consolidated sleep at night because the baby start releasing its own melatonin, and they will start getting longer stretches of consolidated sleep, especially in the first half of the night. And this is when we need to start working on some timing for sleep, some schedule, because probably the moment when the baby will be releasing that melatonin will be earlier in the evening. So we need to start working on an earlier bedtime, and that will help the baby get better sleep. But in general, responding to your question about quality sleep, we know that it's not only the amount of sleep that it's important, not only in infants or young children, but also in adults, but it's the quality of that sleep. And the quality is very important because we need to get enough of deep sleep, especially during the night. And during that deep sleep, so many biological functions happen that are related with our good health. Babies and young children release, and even adults, the growth hormone, so important for them to grow healthy. The immune system works very hard during deep sleep and during the night. Memory consolidation happen during sleep. We process our emotions during sleep. We recover energy, after a long day of activities. We need, to get more energy the next morning. So we know that in the long term or in the short term, babies and children need their sleep to stay healthy, to learn better, to get better grades at school, to be able to do sports, and to have good emotional regulation.
Well, thank you so much, Lola. I'm going to see you in New York in October, and we are
Okay.
going to have a lovely time over there. And we will advertise where and when people will be able to listen to you on two lectures in New York. And again, the 20 minutes went so fast, and I will be more than happy to host you again here. We launch our product, the smartwatch, in November 20th. And since November 20th, people will be able to see within the application with the smartwatch when is going to be the next live talk. So it will enable us. Right now, we had 5 people that took part in the event, and I believe that in the future we are going to have much more. So it's just the beginning,
It's
and
amazing.
thank you for listening, everybody. And thank you for taking part in Eat, Sleep, Cry, Repeat. My name is Ami Meoded, and from Little One Care, and I really hope to see you again in the next time we are going to host here another baby experts like Lola. Thank you, everybody.